Hi there, Duncan here, physiotherapist and owner of Life is Movement, here with another exercise video demonstration. I make these videos for my patients here at my clinic. However, if you're not a patient and you find any of this useful, you're of course welcome to take it and run with it as you see fit. Just please make sure you do so safely. So I wanted to make a video to show people how to do the Jefferson curl or Jefferson deadlift. If I've given you this exercise as a patient at the clinic, you have likely already progressed through the spinal flexion progression mobility sort of series of exercises, which includes pelvic tilting, rocking, seated flexion, and standing flexion for mobility purpose, so you can get really comfortable in this flexion pattern, reaching forward to, towards touching your toes or picking something off the floor. Once you've done that and you've regained that functional pattern, that mobility, we can start to load that pattern. Now, I realize that if you've had a back problem, your grandma or maybe even your GP has probably told you you have to avoid bending forward. And that is, it's not bad advice, it's good advice to a point. If you're really acute, if you have a really active, symptomatic herniated disc or something like that, then yes, or if your muscles are in a huge state of spasm, then yes, you should avoid bending forward to exacerbate things. However, after that point, if you actually want to rehab your back, you do need to face that demon. You do need to challenge this movement. So we first regain the mobility through that, the seated flexion, the flexion progression pattern that we do here at the clinic. And then if you want to put some money in that rehab bank account, if you want to strengthen your back so it stops being a problem for you, you need to load it. And this is how we do it. So here I have a nice little kettlebell. Now, full disclosure, I'm still on my own journey with this pattern. I had huge disc issues about 15 years ago. So I'm always cautious, but I do this exercise because it makes my back strong. And I, fortunately, don't have back problems anymore. But I say that to illustrate why I often only use a small weight for this pattern. But everyone should start small and build up to heavier weights. So basically, all we're going to do is that same standing flexion that I've illustrated in previous videos, however, holding a small amount of weight. So we do the exact same thing. So cervical spine first, thoracic, knees can be soft, don't bend them too much. And we're going to now we don't have to imagine heavy fingertips because we have a weight now. So we're going to let that weight draw us towards the ground. And yes, I do have a rounded back. When you're ready for it, when you have the mobility to have a rounded back, you can start to gradually add weight. The key word being gradually. I've hit the floor with the kettlebell now, and I want to come back up. So I push in with the midfoot where your shoelaces would be on each foot, push in to push down to come up and back up. So I'll do it a little bit quicker now without so much talking. Neck, thoracic. Come down, knees can be soft. You can hang out here if you like, or you can just come back up. Now, if you fear this pattern, even watching someone do this can be quite scary. But just for your information, I've had 3 herniated discs in my lower back that all required surgery. And I can do this, obviously I'm just warming up now, but I can do this exercise with a sort of 16 kilo kettlebell, something like that. Not particularly heavy, but just so you know, if you're someone who's at the start of your back injury journey, this is possible. You just have to do it step by step. Now, to progress this exercise, something I love to do is add more range of motion, not necessarily more weight. So to do this, you probably won't be able to see my head, oh, maybe just. We stand on a box. And so now, as I do the exercise, so same weight, the exact same thing, neck, thoracic spine, but instead of, if I were doing this on the floor, I'd sort of have to stop here because the kettlebell would be hitting the floor. But now, I've got all this extra range of motion I can do because I'm standing on the box, nice stretch, and then exactly the same, push down to come up, and up. I'm just going to show you from the side. Hopefully you can see. Here we go. Neck, thoracic, soft knees, as you can see, the kettlebell would have had to have stopped now, but I get an extra few inches of range of motion here, which is really, really useful. You want to eventually, once you're no longer in an acute phase of back pain, you do want to expose your weaknesses, your challenges in range of motion, and gradually develop them. That is how you build a strong and resilient spine that is no longer at risk of future injury. So the whole sequence is we do all the mobility stuff, pelvic tilting, rocking, seated flexion, standing flexion. When we've done that and regained the mobility of flexion and the confidence with flexion, like every other good rehab exercise, we start to load it, and that makes it infinitely scalable. And if you want the extra challenge, expand the range of motion, extend the range of motion by standing on something. The Jefferson curl, Jefferson deadlifter has various names. I call it a weighted standing flexion exercise. Give it a go. I promise your back will thank you. Good luck.